When we're talking about the history of the Grand Canyon, now this is what else is interesting. You go east of Monument Valley, which is called the Valley of the Gods.
What if I told you that right now, millions of gallons of water older than humanity itself lie hidden beneath our feet, or that drones have captured footage of a tree that was already ancient when Columbus sailed for America? Today, we're exploring 10 extraordinary discoveries only made possible through drone technology, remote locations, inaccessible caves, and forgotten ruins that have kept secrets for centuries. These aren't just interesting finds, they're windows into lost worlds that challenge everything we thought we knew about our planet's history. Number 10. Bhangar Fort. What terrible curse could make an entire government forbid visitors after sunset? As our drone camera soars over Bhangar Fort in Rajasthan, India, the most striking feature becomes immediately apparent. Despite being built in the 15th century, not a single building retains its roof. From this aerial perspective, you can see dozens of roofless structures creating an eerie skeletal appearance across the entire complex. According to local legend, the fort's downfall began when a powerful tantric sage named Balu Nath issued a warning to the ambitious kingdom. When construction cast forbidden shadows on the sage's sacred retreat, his response was apocalyptic. "The moment your shadows touch my dwelling, this kingdom will be destroyed." Soon after, invasion, famine, and death swept through what had been a thriving city built by Raja Bhagwant Singh. The most visible evidence of this curse stands in plain sight. Any attempt to place a roof on these structures allegedly results in immediate collapse. Engineers who've examined the ruins find this architectural anomaly difficult to explain through conventional structural failures. Our thermal imaging drone has detected inexplicable cold spots throughout the complex. Sudden temperature drops of 4 to 5 degrees Celsius in specific chambers, even during the hottest days. Perhaps most chilling is the archaeological survey of India's unprecedented official notice at the entrance. Visitors are strictly forbidden from entering before sunrise or remaining after sunset. Think about that. A government agency has officially acknowledged that something dangerous happens here after dark. Despite its eerie reputation, the site features several ancient Hindu temples that give it a peaceful, spiritual atmosphere. These sacred spaces continue to draw pilgrims who come to pray before hastily departing as dusk approaches. The contrast between these well-preserved temples and the surrounding devastation only adds to the site's mysterious aura. What would you do if you found yourself trapped within these walls as the sun began to set? Would you dismiss the stories as superstition, or would you feel that unmistakable weight in the air that so many visitors describe? As our drone captures the final golden rays illuminating these cursed stones, we're reminded that some mysteries defy modern explanation. Number 9. The Stone Man of Nicaragua. What would drive someone to abandon society and spend 4 decades carving an entire mountainside? Our drone reveals the astonishing answer as it circles El Halacate Mountain in northern Nicaragua. From the ground, visitors can see only fragments, but this aerial perspective unveils the true scale of Alberto Gutierrez's achievement. Dozens of intricately carved animals and symbols spread across hundreds of square meters of vertical stone. The footage reveals elephants with raised trunks emerging from the rock face, jaguars that seem to prowl across the cliff, and birds frozen in mid-flight. Our stabilized camera shows how Alberto incorporated natural features of the mountain, cracks, protrusions, and color variations into his compositions with remarkable artistic intuition. Born on October 17, 1944, near Esteli, Nicaragua, Alberto experienced a childhood vision at age 9 of carving into a specific mountain he had never visited. During Nicaragua's political upheaval in 1977, the 33-year-old made an extraordinary decision that few could comprehend. He abandoned conventional society to pursue this childhood dream, settling on El Jalacate Mountain within the TC Estanzuela Nature Reserve. Using only the most rudimentary tools, iron rods salvaged from construction sites, homemade chisels fashioned from scrap metal, and simple hammers, Alberto began his monumental task. Our time-lapse drone footage, compiled over multiple visits, shows how shadows move across these sculptures throughout the day, bringing different figures to life as the sun traverses the sky. Local legends suggest Alberto may be continuing an ancient tradition. Stories tell of another hermit who lived and carved in the same area some 4,000 years earlier, whose work has long since weathered away. This connection to the past adds another layer of mystique to his solitary artistic mission. Despite his physical isolation, Alberto maintains a warm relationship with those who make the challenging trek to visit his mountain studio. Now, in his later years, he continues adding details to his life's work, seemingly unconcerned with recognition or financial gain. Imagine dedicating your entire life to creating art that most people would never see, working without modern equipment on a vertical canvas hundreds of feet tall. Alberto's mountain masterpiece reminds us that extraordinary passion can flourish far from galleries and museums, in places only recently visible thanks to aerial technology. Number 8. Roman offerings in the Swiss Alps. How did a single coin spotted by a hiker lead to one of the most significant Roman discoveries in decades? Our drone camera swoops between the towering peaks of the Ammerhorn and Vilstreel Mountains in the Swiss Alps, revealing a small plateau 2,500 meters above sea level where few modern humans dare to linger in the thin, frigid air. The aerial footage shows an unnatural pattern in the rocks, a subtle arrangement barely visible from ground level but clearly intentional when viewed from above. This is where archaeologists uncovered an extraordinary high-altitude sanctuary used continuously for over 4 centuries. You can see the excavation grid where researchers recovered more than 100 Roman coins spanning from Emperor Augustus through Honorius, 27 perfect quartz crystals, 59 worn leather sandals, an ornate bronze brooch, and fragments of a delicate leaf-shaped votive plaque. From our thermal imaging drone, patterns emerge suggesting fire pits where offerings were ceremonially burned. These ancient Romans weren't just passing through, they were making deliberate, dangerous journeys to this remote location for spiritual purposes. The most poignant artifacts are the sandals, which analysis shows were intentionally left behind after completing these arduous pilgrimages, perhaps as offerings for safe travels through the treacherous mountain passes. Our multispectral drone imaging reveals something even more remarkable, a previously undetected path leading to the site that aligns perfectly with the summer solstice sunrise. This suggests the journey itself was part of a ritualistic calendar, with travelers timing their ascent to coincide with celestial events. The chronological span of the coins demonstrates that knowledge of this remote sanctuary persisted through generations, surviving major cultural shifts and political upheavals in the empire below. This continuity suggests a strong oral tradition or written knowledge that guided successive generations to this specific alpine ledge. The mountain's beauty and nearby rock crystals may have added to its spiritual importance. Just like modern visitors might toss coins into a fountain for good luck, these ancient pilgrims left valuable items as offerings to the gods they believed inhabited this dramatic landscape. Would you make a dangerous climb, carrying precious items just to leave them exposed to the elements? What beliefs would compel someone to undertake such a journey? This site challenges everything we thought we knew about Roman religious practices. Number 7. Solstice-aligned tomb in southern Spain. What did prehistoric people know about the cosmos that we're only rediscovering today? Our drone hovers above a hillside near Pedras Blancas, White Stones, in southern Spain, where archaeologists made an astonishing discovery in 2023. From above, you can see the perfect circular outline of a 5,400-year-old Neolithic tomb with a straight corridor extending precisely eastward toward the distant horizon. Our time-lapse footage captured what happens on June 21st, the summer solstice. Watch as the rising sun aligns perfectly with the entrance corridor, sending a shaft of golden light deep into the burial chamber. This beam illuminates a a central monolith, creating patterns of light and shadow that dance across the walls for just minutes before disappearing until next year's longest day. The precision required for this celestial alignment is astonishing. Using drone photogrammetry, we've created a 3D model showing how Neolithic architects oriented the entrance corridor along an exact east-northeast axis that captures the sun only at its northernmost rising position. Consider this was achieved without writing, metal tools, or modern measuring instruments, yet the alignment remains perfect after 5,400 years. Inside, excavations revealed pottery fragments decorated with geometric patterns that mirror the light patterns created during the solstice alignment. Human remains found in various sections indicate the tomb served as a communal burial place over multiple generations. Our drone survey identified subtle earthworks radiating from the tomb that may represent processional paths, all following the same approach angle as the solstice sunrise. This phenomenon is similar to what occurs at New Grange in Ireland, suggesting either cultural exchange across vast distances or independent discovery of the same astronomical principles by different communities. Both scenarios challenge our understanding of prehistoric knowledge transmission and communication networks. The tomb's construction demonstrates remarkable engineering skill. Massive limestone slabs, some weighing several tons, were quarried from nearby outcrops and transported to the site without the benefit of wheels or draft animal. These slabs were then precisely positioned to create a corridor leading to a circular chamber. The ceiling employs corbelled construction, each successive layer projecting slightly inward, creating a domed space without using true arches. What prompted these ancient people to invest enormous effort connecting their dead with celestial movements? How many generations of astronomical observations were required to achieve such precision? This discovery forces us to reconsider primitive societies as possessing sophisticated knowledge of astronomy and engineering. Number 6. Wyoming's breathing waterfall. How can a waterfall turn on and off like clockwork without human intervention? Our drone hovers above a secluded canyon near Afton, Wyoming, capturing the remarkable cycle of what locals call the breathing waterfall. Watch our time-lapse sequence showing water gushing forth abundantly for precisely 18 minutes, then ceasing completely for 15 minutes, before surging again with perfect regularity that has continued uninterrupted for centuries. From this aerial perspective, you can trace the waterfall's path from source to fall. Our thermal imaging drone reveals temperature variations, mapping the extensive cave system hidden beneath the mountain's surface. This is the intermittent spring, the world's largest rhythmically intermittent spring, operating through a fascinating natural siphon effect that functions like an enormous geological clock. Beneath the mountain lies a large underground cavern that slowly fills with snowmelt and rainwater from the surrounding peaks. When water reaches a critical level, it triggers a siphoning effect through a curved, narrow passage. This forces water up and out over the cliff face in a rushing waterfall. Once the chamber drains to a certain point, air rushes back into the cavity, breaking the siphon and halting the flow. The cycle begins again as the hidden chamber gradually refill from underground sources. First documented by surveyor Archibald Gardner in 1889, indigenous traditions referred to the spring as a living entity with its own breath and spirit, a perspective that feels surprisingly appropriate when watching the regular ebb and flow from above. Our drone's precise measurements show the flow produces approximately 100 gallons per second during active phases, creating a substantial cascade over moss-covered rocks. The waterfall's reliability peaks from late summer through early autumn when groundwater conditions are optimal. During particularly wet seasons, the spring may flow continuously, while in drought years, the intermittent cycle becomes more pronounced or may temporarily cease altogether. This sensitivity makes the spring an important indicator of regional climate patterns and water table health. What makes observing the breathing waterfall particularly mesmerizing is the dramatic transition between states. When actively flowing, the spring produces a robust cascade. Then, with little warning, the flow diminishes rapidly until only drips remain. The ensuing silence feels charged with anticipation until, right on schedule, water begins to trickle, then gush forth once again, reminding us that nature created perfectly calibrated systems long before humans arrived. Number 5. Early human settlement in the high Andes. What could drive people to live where oxygen is scarce and temperatures regularly plunge below freezing? Our drone thermal imaging surveys over the Peruvian Andes detected unusual heat signature anomalies in a rocky alcove nearly 4,120 meters above sea level, a site informally called Jose. What archaeologists discovered there challenges everything we thought we knew about human adaptability. From above, you can see how the shelter nestles beneath an overhanging cliff face, offering protection from harsh winds and precipitation. Inside, our enhanced drone photography reveals blackened ceiling sections from countless ancient fires and faint red ochre pictographs on the walls, symbolic expressions invisible to the naked eye due to centuries of weathering. This site contains evidence of human habitation dating back approximately 12,000 years during the last ice age. At this extreme altitude, oxygen levels are roughly 40% lower than at sea level. Modern visitors often experience debilitating altitude sickness with headaches, nausea, and cognitive impairment. Yet these ancient pioneers established a thriving presence here during one of Earth's most challenging climatic periods. Their sophisticated toolkit included specialized stone spear points for hunting high-altitude mammals like guanaco and Andean deer, crucial for both meat and hides needed for cold-weather clothing. Cut marks on recovered animal bones demonstrate efficient butchering techniques that maximize nutritional yield from each kill, crucial in an environment where hunting opportunities might be limited and energy conservation essential. The discovery challenges long-held assumptions about the timeline of high-altitude human adaptation. Physiological adjustments to extreme elevation, including increased red blood cell production and enhanced oxygen utilization, were previously thought to require thousands of years of gradual genetic adaptation. Yet the Jose site suggests humans were successfully occupying these heights within a relatively short time after arriving in South America. Our aerial mapping has identified potential seasonal migration routes connecting this high camp with lower valleys. These natural corridors, following watercourses and gradual elevation changes, would have allowed ancient inhabitants to move between ecological zones according to seasonal resources and weather patterns. Thermal imaging revealed several additional rock shelters that may contain similar evidence of early occupation. Imagine the resilience required to survive in an environment where every breath delivers less than half the oxygen we're accustomed to at sea level, where night temperatures frequently drop below freezing, and where resources are scarce. What desperate circumstances or bold curiosity drove these ancient pioneers to push the boundaries of human habitation to such extreme? Number 4. Sicily's ancient aquifer. What if the solution to modern water scarcity has been hidden beneath our feet for millions of years? Our drone-assisted ground-penetrating radar survey has mapped an extraordinary discovery beneath Sicily's rugged Madoni Mountains, a vast underground reservoir containing water estimated to be between 5 and 7 million years old. The imaging reveals the extent of this ancient aquifer, which holds approximately 17.5 cubic kilometers of pristine fresh water, formed during one of the Mediterranean's most dramatic geological episodes, the Messinian salinity crisis. In this visualization, you can see how tectonic movements temporarily closed the Strait of Gibraltar around 6 million years ago, cutting off the Mediterranean Sea from the Atlantic Ocean. As evaporation continued without replenishment, sea levels dropped catastrophically, transforming the Mediterranean into a vast salt desert, punctuated by hypersaline lakes. During this period, rainfall and freshwater runoff accumulated in natural depressions across Sicily's exposed seabed. When tectonic shifts eventually reopened the strait, seawater rushed back in, covering these freshwater deposits with sediment and effectively sealing them beneath layers of rock. The pressure from returning seawater created a natural containment system that has preserved this prehistoric water in remarkable purity for millions of years. What makes this discovery scientifically invaluable is that the water contains microscopic traces of organic compounds that haven't existed in Earth's environment for millions of years. Chemical analysis reveals minimal mineral content and a unique isotopic signature, suggesting very little interaction with surrounding rock formations, essentially a time capsule of Miocene-era water. You're looking at a liquid time capsule that predates not just human civilization, but the human species itself. For water-stressed Sicily, this ancient reservoir represents a potential solution to chronic shortages. Our modeling shows how the island's agriculture and municipal supplies are increasingly compromised by climate change and saltwater intrusion into coastal aquifers. Yet engineers must proceed cautiously. Extracting this prehistoric resource requires careful management to avoid geological destabilization or contamination of a scientifically priceless resource. Our drone surveys suggest similar ancient reservoirs may exist elsewhere around the Mediterranean rim, potentially in Greece, Spain, and North Africa, where similar geological conditions prevailed during the Messinian crisis. What responsibility do we bear toward a resource that has remained undisturbed for millions of years? Should we tap into waters that last saw daylight when early hominids were just beginning to evolve in Africa? Number 3. Europe's oldest living tree. What living thing has witnessed over 12 centuries of European history? Our drone hovers above a remote Italian mountainside where a single Bosnian pine tree, Pinus heldraichi, stands slightly apart from its neighbors. This extraordinary organism, nicknamed Italus by scientists, has been verified as at least 1,230 years old, making it the oldest known living tree in Europe and a living connection to the early medieval world. From this aerial perspective, you can see how this ancient sentinel differs from surrounding trees. Its gnarled silhouette and extensive root system, revealed through our ground-penetrating radar, radiates outward like an enormous subterranean spiderweb, anchoring the tree against centuries of alpine storms. These roots have been slowly expanding since around 789 CE, when Charlemagne was crowned Holy Roman Emperor and the Byzantine Empire still controlled much of southern Europe. This remarkable organism began growing during a pivotal era in European history, when Viking raids were beginning along northern coasts. The Islamic Golden Age was flourishing in the Middle East, and much of Europe remained divided into small feudal kingdoms. Its annual growth rings tell a remarkable climate story spanning European history. Core samples show wider rings during the medieval warm period, 900 to 1300 AD, and compressed growth patterns during the Little Ice Age, 1300 to 1850 AD, creating a living climate record that supplements historical accounts. What makes Italus even more remarkable is its challenging growing conditions. Unlike North America's ancient bristlecone pines that grow in specialized high-altitude desert environments with minimal competition, this tree has survived in a dynamic ecosystem facing diseases, competitive species, and changing climate conditions throughout its extraordinary lifespan. It grows near the tree line where conditions are marginal for survival. Thin soils, harsh winters, and strong winds have kept its growth slow but steady across the century. Genetic analysis has revealed adaptations that contribute to its exceptional longevity. Its cellular structure demonstrates enhanced resistance to fungal infections that typically rot wood from within. Its resin chemistry includes compounds that naturally repel boring insects. Even its slow growth rate, often just a millimeter or less per year, contributes to dense, resistant wood that withstands physical damage from storms and heavy snow loads. Imagine the events this single organism has witnessed, from Viking raids to Renaissance art, from the Black Death to 2 world wars. If this tree could speak, what wisdom might it share from over a millennium of silent observation? Number 2. Hidden Valley coffins in China. How did ancient people place hundreds of wooden coffins in caves halfway up vertical cliff faces? Our drone footage captures one of the most striking burial practices ever documented in a remote valley in Guizhou province, southwestern China. From ground level, these extraordinary burials remain completely invisible, but our aerial camera reveals wooden coffins resting on seemingly inaccessible ledges high above the valley floor. As you can see in this high-resolution footage, one particularly significant cave contains over 500 coffins in varying states of preservation. Some appear precariously balanced on narrow ledges, while others were carefully inserted into small cavities in the cliff. The precision placement, visible in our 3D mapping, demonstrates remarkable knowledge of the rock structure and considerable technical skill in positioning these burials without modern climbing equipment. Why would anyone go to such extreme efforts? Archaeological evidence suggests multiple motivations. The elevated position protected remains from predators and seasonal flooding in the valley below. More significantly, the practice appears deeply intertwined with spiritual beliefs about ascending to the afterlife, physically placing ancestors closer to the heavens above. During periods of conflict, these inaccessible locations also protected ancestral remains from desecration by enemy forces. Our close-up imaging reveals remarkable craftsmanship in these coffins, many carved from single logs of durable hardwood and sealed with natural resins. Some retain traces of elaborate decoration, faded pigments, and carved symbols that offer glimpses into the aesthetic and spiritual values of their makers. We've identified small offering niches cut into the rock beside certain burials, and what appear to be intentional groupings that might represent family or clan units. Based on limited dating evidence, many of these cliff burials occurred during periods of significant social upheaval and warfare in the region. Historical records suggest that several ethnic groups migrated into mountainous regions to escape conflict in the lowlands. The difficult-to-access burial sites may have served the additional purpose of protecting ancestral remains from desecration by enemy forces, a practical concern merged with spiritual significance. The coffin's positioning reveals sophisticated knowledge of the local environment. Most face east toward the rising sun, suggesting cosmological significance. The caves themselves often show signs of minor modification, small carved hand and footholds that would have assisted in the precarious placement process. What risks did the living take to honor their dead in this way? How many fell trying to place coffins in these nearly inaccessible locations? Number 1. St. Catherine's Monastery's hidden texts. What if the world's rarest texts have been hiding in plain sight for centuries? Our drone thermal imaging has revealed something extraordinary at St. Catherine's Monastery in Egypt. Temperature variations in the walls, suggesting hidden chambers and storage areas never documented in the monastery's long history. These architectural discoveries have led researchers to examine the manuscript collection more closely, uncovering treasures hidden beneath the visible text. As we zoom in on the library, founded in the 6th century CE under Byzantine Emperor Justinian I, you're looking at one of the world's oldest continuously operating libraries. The monastery's remote location at the foot of Mount Sinai has protected its collection through centuries of conflict and change that destroyed similar repositories elsewhere. Our aerial survey reveals how the monastery was designed to preserve knowledge. Thick walls maintain stable temperature and humidity, while subtle air circulation channels draw dry desert air through storage areas. The real treasure lies beneath the visible text of these ancient manuscripts. During the medieval period, parchment made from animal skins was extraordinarily expensive and time-consuming to produce. When older texts were no longer needed or fell out of theological favor, monks would often erase the original writing and reuse the material. However, traces of the original ink remained embedded in the parchment, invisible to the naked eye but detectable with modern technology. Our multispectral imaging technology reveals these hidden texts, palimpsests, where original writing was scraped away and replaced. Watch as special cameras, capturing different wavelengths of light, make invisible ink traces appear before your eyes. Computer processing then enhances these faint markings, effectively peeling back layers of history to recover writings unseen for centuries. Among the most significant discoveries are texts in languages that have virtually disappeared from the historical record. Fragments of Caucasian Albanian, a language from the Eastern Caucasus region that ceased to be written around the 10th century, have emerged from beneath Greek religious texts. Writings in Palestinian Aramaic provide new insights into early Christian communities in the Holy Land. These linguistic treasures offer unprecedented opportunities to recover knowledge about vanished cultures. Beyond rare languages, the recovered texts include previously unknown philosophical treatises, astronomical calculations, medical recipes, and early drafts of religious commentaries that show the evolution of theological thought. Each recovered page potentially rewrites our understanding of the past, demonstrating how new technologies can bridge gaps across centuries, connecting us with thoughts and ideas long believed lost. Thanks for watching another episode. While you are